Hello everyone and welcome back to Not In My Lifetime channel. Thursday Truths is back and I thought by this point, Bevo, we'd be in a positive run of form, much better than where we were recently. But no, hell has even deeper holes that I didn't realise were even possible and we're still in the mud. 1 win, 10 games, performance is getting worse and worse each week. It just doesn't feel like it's ever going to end at the moment. I know you've discussed this on length now about how bad this has gone, but we warned this back in September and how bad this was going to get. People said otherwise, oh, we're just getting ahead of yourselves. Look, we watch this team every season now, and we know how good we're going to be. But when you start seeing four get belt individual, and you know it's only going one way. And the last month or so, no, sorry, the last month and a half, let's be honest here, the last month and a half, even with one game like Wolves and Southampton, it's been terrible, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah, no, it's where do I start? Um, I'm going to start off by having a bit of a rant. I think um, I've had time to sit and think about the game from last night, and I think for me, it's absolute embarrassment. Um, right, Steve, absolute embarrassment. Um, I called you after the game last night, and we had a bit of a chat about it, and for me, it kind of feels like the players aren't playing for the manager, even though I know that that's not the case because it's Pep Guardiola who wouldn't want to play for the manager. But if you look at other scenarios with other teams where players have dropped off to the extent of what we have, um, normally you find that it's that they've lost any faith in the manager and they just stop playing for the manager. I mean, look at United under Ten Hag. You
Mm.
know, United under Ten Hag, they got to a point where they just stopped playing for the manager. Ultimately, they sacked the manager. Ruud van Nistelrooy took over, and they won the next 2-3 games. And for me, I just feel like it's kind of like that, but I don't believe that the players aren't playing for the manager. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't believe that the players are playing for for each other. And I think that's where it becomes a bigger problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at yesterday, in particular for that second goal, um, players weren't sprinting back to try and get back into positions; they were jogging. Um, there looked like very little effort being put in by most of the players, if I'm being honest. Um, and something's got to give because I mentioned to you last night as well. You know that there's people who have gone out to Turin to support City last night, and these people earn next to nothing in comparison to what the players earn. Now the club needs to be taking a stance on this and saying, "I'm not being funny, but you need to somewhat give back to the fans." I'd be deducting from every single player in that team last night. Even though Ruben Diaz, he is not to blame for last night. Every game he plays, he puts the effort in. But you play as a team, you win as a team, and you lose as a team. When
Mm-hmm.
you play that badly as a team, you need to be deducting salaries and somewhat refunding the fans that went out last night to go and watch that game. Because this is at the end of the day, these players are getting paid. Some of them are getting paid 2, 3, 400,000 pound a week, and to what? And for what? You know, if that was me, I would be saying to every single one of those players that had any involvement in that game last night, we're deducting half of your salaries and we're refunding the fans that went out. there last night, because that was an absolute embarrassment. Did we play incredibly poorly? No, I thought we held the ball quite well. I thought that, over the last few weeks, we've seen us play quite sloppy. We've given the ball away quite a lot. Last night, I didn't think that was the case, but we certainly didn't take our opportunities. We weren't sprinting back into position. We were jogging back most of the time, and it just looked like there was very little effort given. And for me to watch that second goal, the first one was an absolute shambles from Kyle Walker. He should have gone running for that ball, decided not to, and then decided that he was going to go and get it. But then when he decided he was going to go and get it, he then stood off the player and allowed him to make the cross. Put a tackle in. Not one of those players looks like they're putting a tackle in. Not one of those players last night looked like they gave more than 60% max. For me, it's just an absolute disgrace. And if I was a player last night, I would be ashamed. I really, really would. We've got a club captain who stays away from the media and doesn't come out and give any kind of statement. He's come out and given a statement today, and yeah, I understand the reasons as to why he's come out and given a statement today. At the end of the day, there isn't any room for racism, but we are allowed to call out the fact of how crap he is at the moment. But on the other hand, choose your words wisely, because there is no room for racism in this game, or anywhere else in life. But fans are concerned, and I can see why. That first goal, I'd put it down to him as a mistake. The second goal, he was jogging back. They had a player last night who scored a goal for Juventus, who not that long ago, I'm pretty sure it was the year before or the year that we won the treble, maybe the year before, he was playing for Leeds. The year they got relegated, he was playing for Leeds.
Yeah, Weston McKennie.
This player's doing us in a Champions League game now. Is this what we've become?
And now,
is this what we've become? And don't even get me started on the Crystal Palace game. We haven't spoke since that game.
We haven't. Before we do, I'll big up Tone. By the way, I love the positivity, mate. But I know what you really think, mate. I know what you really think. But big up to you. But you keep the same message as always. But yeah, I know. I was laughing, grinning for that. But yeah, I had to give it a little bit. I know the thing is, right. I know how you feel, mate. I know what last night you were saying facts. Last night you were saying it as it is, and I know you always do anyway in your own way. But I can tell last night annoyed you much as it does too. I think everyone's annoyed by it now. It's not just individuals now. We're all as a fan base. We've all had enough of the performances how they've been recently. Big up Steve. Big up Luke, obviously in the chat as well. Mate, Bevo never plays games, mate. He's always on it. Always on the fact train. Big up Heather. Full game last night. I'll go into myself in a bit, but I thought I'd give Bevo the stage first before I give my point of view. Yeah, well, I think I was a bit about the racism bit, but I knew it's fine. I know what you mean there. To be fair, right, with McKennie, he is a sort of player, but the problem is for me is for our level, he's not our level. He's a good player, but ask American fans, they're not good.
Well, I said to you last night, I'm just going to jump back in because we're talking about sort of quality of players. We are on one of the worst runs of form, probably the worst run of form since we since we won 1 in 18, which was what, 2000? No. What was it, 98, 99, something like that? 2001?
Yeah.
I can't remember the year. So it was
Um,
around sort of that era.
you carry on. I'll let you know what message you. You carry on talking.
You know, and you look back at our team back then, and you could understand why, because a lot of the players that we had back then were, they were okay players, but they weren't great. Every single player last night is a starter for their respective countries. Every single player last night. You look at Edison, Brazilian international goalkeeper. Kyle Walker, England right back. Rico Lewis gets games for England. Maybe not starter, but he's in or around the team.
Squad player.
Ruben Diaz. Yeah.
What?
Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz, Portugal centre back. Gvardiol, Croatia centre back. You then go into the midfield. Gundogan, only for the fact that he's retired from Germany, he was a regular starter for Germany. Kevin De Bruyne, seasoned quality Belgian international, regular starter. Doku, regular starter. Haaland, all-time leading goal scorer for Norway, regular starter. Bernardo Silva, regular starter for Portugal. Jack Grealish, most of the time a fairly regular starter for England. Every single one of those players are regular starters or somewhat take a lot of part in their respective international countries.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no excuse for this. Every single player has quality to be winning games. But when you're not putting the effort in, or look like you're putting the effort in, you've got Haaland trying to chip the keeper for his only chance of the game, and he's turning around and laughing about it. When we played Liverpool, we got spanked 2-0 by Liverpool, and at the end of the game, he was having a laugh and a joke with the Liverpool players. I'm sorry, but save it for the tunnel.
By the way,
I understand that these people are probably your friends, but save it for the tunnel. Fans have paid good money to go out and watch you, and you're an absolute disgrace. Sorry, I'm done.
No,
carry on.
My fault. Just answer your question about the run. So I kind of look at it. Officially, I think the next bad run was 1 in 14. I think the worst we've had the last, let's say, last 30 years. I haven't gone back. I haven't gone further back yet. It hasn't got that bad yet, by the way. So I can't say that further back yet, but we're going to get there at some point in 70, 60, 50. We'll go back to like the very start of the club, probably. The worst run was Kevin Keegan, 1 win in 18 games. 18 games. If we get to that level, questions need to be asked more on the manager, I think, at that point. I know that sounds harsh, but
just to put it into perspective as well, nobody has conceded more goals than City in Europe's top 5 leagues.
That includes,
nobody.
By the way. That includes,
not even Southampton. Not even Southampton. Everton. No one has conceded more goals than us out of all of Europe's top 5 leagues. I'm sorry, but you look at the French league, so Farmers League. Even some of the ones in the relegation, zone there haven't even conceded as much as we have.
Steve, right? Honestly, Haaland, how do you miss that chance, mate? I know the keepers close you down there, mate, but come on. Like, look, if we won that game, would it have changed our season? No, not yet. Anyway, if we won the game, still a long way to go. Even if we won the game, but the problem is, mate, Crystal Palace, right, was just exactly for me. Palace was the perfect game the summer past season. That was. I found a formula that worked. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drop Jack Grealish and Doku. Why? Tell us why. Is it because they're not fully fit yet? If they're not, it's not fully fit, then why not bring them off against Bloody Forest? Start them again on Saturday. Why do we have to keep doing this? Why can't we just find a team that works and stick with it? It's too much tinkering. At some point, you've got to stop and trust the team. It's getting to the point now where I have no idea, mate, who's going to start on Sunday. I don't know.
Be ready for it, because we ain't winning. We ain't winning on Sunday. Just be ready for it, because we're not. We're not. So, Blues, expect the banter from United fans coming thick and fast, because I mean I might have to even take a break from Twitter. Like I can't. And then we've what we got Villa after that.
Away 12. 1 in 12.
Then we got what, PSG after that?
No, Everton home after that.
I mean, I'm not hopeful for that.
But just be positive. Look, anyone saying be positive at this point, trust me, if they're positive, we'd be saying them by now. But I'm begging positivity. I'm begging for something, but we can't lie here.
I was looking last night, and I said to you on the phone, didn't I, last night? Normally, when I'm watching City games and we put in a bad performance and we lose, normally I'll look at the game and say, okay, I can see where the problem was. You know, we make a change here, and maybe a small change to midfield, maybe a small change to the defense or the front three or something, and you can see, and any fan can do it. Any fan can see where the improvements can be made. I honestly can't see where we can improve.
Because it's not injuries, mate. It's not injuries anymore.
I don't. You can't be using, I'm sorry, you can't be using injuries as an excuse. No. Every team has injuries. Arsenal have had roughly the same amount of injuries as us this season.
Liverpool, they have injuries.
Liverpool have had injuries, maybe not to the extent that we have. They've not lost, probably their most creative playmaker, but at the same time, they've still had injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries cannot be an excuse for this. It can't, because yes, I understand Rodri is a pivotal player for us, but you're replacing Rodri with seasoned international quality players. You're replacing him with Kovacic, who has won all there is to win in world football.
Yeah.
What have you just seen?
Oh, nothing. I'm just gonna put something out. Anyone wants to join the stream and have their say, follow me on Twitter right now at Assistant284. And I'm gonna put
Steve, get yourself on, lad.
Yep, Steve, you're in the chat still, mate. Look at my recent tweet, and you can have your say, mate. There you go. Right. Yeah. So carrying on. So I just at the moment it's just there isn't anything to be positive about. Like, to me personally, right? I didn't even watch the game once. Not because I don't want to watch games, but I know what's going to happen. I said 2-2 on Wednesday just to feel like, okay, maybe we can get a draw. But mate, we couldn't even score goals, mate, on Wednesday. Now, yes, Italian football defensively they're a lot better. Granted, that is a thing. But the way we just didn't do anything creatively,
there was no aggression to our play at all.
No, there wasn't at all, and it's got to the point now where it's inevitable. How this is going to go? Like Sunday, I know what's going to happen. We'll start the game off a bit of aggression, a little bit of positivity. Derby day, we'll go for it. But I guarantee you, mate, the same issues are still there at the back and the midfield. They're the issues.
I tell you now, if I see the same level of effort on a derby day as what we put in yesterday, I'm sorry, these players need booing off the pitch, and because at the end of the day, it's one thing to look like you're putting in zero effort against Juventus. Fine, whatever. I'm past caring now.
Yeah.
To go and put that level of effort in again, in a Manchester derby, nah, unexcusable, completely unexcusable.
Yeah, and
I do believe, I think it was Tone put it out there on Twitter yesterday to say that there's rumours sort of circulating around the club that players aren't really training that well.
yeah.
They're not putting effort in. And I'm sorry, if you don't put the effort in on the training ground, you ain't playing. See you later. Done.
Yeah.
Finito.
I'd rather give the kids a go, mate. I'd rather give the
I
kids a
play
go.
I play the entire academy over playing people that don't want to play.
Do you know what, right? Just give Jacob Wright a chance. Give O'Reilly a chance. Give McAtee a bloody chance, mate. You might as well give him a chance at this point. So, you know what, James? Next 5 games, go for it. Why not at this point? Because anyone else is saying not for much different. Look, any kind of excuse at this point, I have to wonder what exactly there's no one really has a good year anyway. Like obviously Haaland has had goals, but even his performance has dropped recently. He ain't the same player was at the start of the season. Nunes, like don't get me wrong, Nunes, right? When he's played pretty well, I can't have a go at him really. I can't fault him really. I mean, he's actually given his all. I can't fault him, mate. He's a squad player, mate. He isn't even meant to be a first team player. He's a squad player that rotates in the team. I mean, look, Grealish at 10. Why has it taken Pep almost 4 years to put Jack in midfield?
I don't
like
know.
De Bruyne is 33, 34, mate. He's still our best midfielder. Foden's out of form. There's no more room hangers on. If you're gonna step up, now's the time, lads. Because honestly, contracts right now should put on hold. I don't want any. I know it's a bit mental.
The only players I'd be giving contracts to now are Rodri. That's it.
And Diaz, them two.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, any improved contracts for players like Haaland, you know, all of that, rip them up. I really rip them up. I don't care. At the end of the day, when you're putting in zero effort, you don't deserve a pay rise. I'm sorry, you don't.
No, I know. It's one of those things, mate, where I'm just like people who are positive, mate. I respect you a lot, like because these people don't often have a go at you. They say as it is themselves, and fair enough. But even with positive City fans, mate, so it's on Wednesday we're done. Everyone's just done, mate. Because I think we finally realised, and you know what, as well, before we carry on, big up Briggsy. Big up Briggsy.
Here he is.
I've been a good time to Red, mate. I thought, well, look, I know yourself, you wouldn't care at all about the comments anyway, because I know you look like me, you have very thick skin. But I want to say myself now, the pricks that are quoting you with that shitty stuff, they're scum. But knowing you, mate, I know how you are, and you won't care at all. So big up to you, mate.
I'm putting out a hashtag now I'm putting out a hashtag now in support of Briggsy.
Don't cast the band now, mate. Well, mate, wish you all the best to journey home, mate. Hopefully, it's a quick one here to get home quickly and get in the bed and chill. But hope you had a good time with these mate out there. I mean, like, honestly, it's lovely out there. Actually, I do want to get out there and some point and go to Liam and watch some football. But big up to you and all the fans out there. Big up Harry. Big up Amira and Lousy out there. Sorry, everyone that I know were out there watching the game yesterday. Fruit shoots and football. Big up Brexit, man. Big up, man. But yeah, mate. Look, honestly, no, I know Brixie's thinking on this, right? And the thing is, right, his last stream he did it on the channel before, obviously, it's been last couple of weeks. He was saying about mentality, and he's right.
Yeah.
It was the same thing to me as well. But like, obviously, look, not so much about the trophy side, but more than. But big up, Steve. How you doing, mate?
All right, mate. You're on mute, mate.
You're on mute. Yeah.
All right, lads.
Good, mate. All right.
Yeah, not bad. Thanks. Been better. Just been listening to you, isn't it? It's been good to hear some of the same kind of energy that I've been feeling.
It's what it's all about, mate. Thursday truths. It's what it's all about. People don't like to hear it, but it needs to be said.
Mate, trust me, I'd rather be positive, mate. I'd rather be positive, but we can't lie and bullshit. We got to look at the facts right now. Well, once we're good again, then back on to being positive and all that kind of stuff. But the way it is right now, it's quite. I'm not even when we've had bad forms in the past. You're still confident that you knew that eventually we get out of it.
Yeah, well, Luke, we haven't seen bad form like this, mate. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? We haven't seen anything to this level since you guys were saying since like the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's getting that crazy. You know what I mean? But like, it's almost like as well. It's kind of a long time coming, and it's sad to say that because we have been as dominant as we have been, and it's crazy the dominance that we have displayed. But if you look at what's been going on, like sort of from the board, I think that's where it comes from. I mean, I love Bevo's energy and I completely share it. But for me, like I feel a bit sorry for the players, like because I think they've been left to sort of be in this situation, and I think like if you could have seen what was coming, you know what I mean, then you would have seen this is coming because, like I say, the midfield is got the combined age of what 90 odd. Do you know what I mean? So like I don't know what more I expect from these guys because they've been left to be in this position, man. I mean they shouldn't be in this position, guys, because we've had the money, but we've been trying to penny pinch. That's what I can see, and at the moment, they haven't got the legs. You've got guys that look like they're absolutely dead on the feet with like 20 minutes to go. You wanting to play guys that are injured because they haven't got any rotation, and the players that can rotate are kids, and he doesn't trust them. So what can he do, man? He's left with these guys at the moment, and they're just all fucked, to be honest. And it's sad to see. And that's why my energy's on the board, really and truly. It's not so much on the players, but sad
I get you. I get you. Yeah. It's the board's fault for us being in this position in terms of the players that we've got. I'm with you on that. There's rumours circulating that we're going to be looking to get 4 to 6 players in over the next 2 summer transfer windows. We need to do that for both transfer windows. We need to be getting 4 players in both transfer windows. We need like 8, 9 players. Because you look at it, you've got the likes of Stones who can't stay fit. You've got the likes of Ake that can't stay fit. Gundogan's 34. Kev's going to be leaving at some point. All of these players. I've just named 4 right there. And then you've got to look at the bigger picture and say, okay, well, we're probably going to need another replacement for like a Kovacic or something like that because he's getting to an age, and then other players are going to be coming out of contract. We need to be looking at about 8 players, and the thing is, I'm glad that we've got Viana in now, and hopefully it's the start of a new era. But like for me, I get what you're saying about the board, and yeah, ultimately it's down to the board's failings, the reason why we're in this position. But the players that are on the pitch need to be giving their all, and they just don't look like they are. There's rumours circulating around the club that they're not even trying in training. Like, I'm sorry, you get paid 400 grand a week. I'd be sprinting for that ball for 400 grand a week. Do you know what I mean?
Bevo, I think this is all they've got, mate. You say you want the players to give their all, yeah? I actually think this is all they've got, bro. Like, sounds crazy, bro. I genuinely think this is all they've got right now. And for me, it's took an emergency.
Did you see that video of Gundogan running back yesterday? That one full pace.
You know what I've seen, Bevo? I've seen
my nan's 85 and she could get from A to B quicker. I'm telling you.
I seen an old man, Bevo. That's what I seen, mate. I seen an old man busting a gut.
He's playing so many games with his age, mate. He's 34, mate. He should be a rotational player now. Like that should be. I'm not saying Rodri, but someone else like in the midfield.
His gearbox has gone, Bevo, mate. His gearbox. He can't get out of second gear. He's knackered. Do you know what I mean? It's,
Oh,
That was
mate,
nothing.
stick my nan in midfield. Honestly, yeah, she'd run faster than that. I'm telling you.
this is a guy that we're asking to play 3 games every 3 days,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's not right.
It's
And
all right.
unfortunately, it's took an emergency, because that's what this is. This is a bit of an emergency right now. This is emergency form, and this is what it's took to get a bit of reflection, hopefully, and see that they need to spend some money, man, big money. You know, Chelsea made 8 signings in January, lads.
Yep.
8 signings.
Is right there, mate. He's right there for a good price. If we start pinching with him again, I'm gonna flip, because the club cannot do that anymore. I'm not saying pay over the
Keep
odds.
checkbook away from cheeky, man. Keep that checkbook well away from cheeky. Give it Viana.
Money down.
You know what it is
Because
with
I
Cheeky,
tell
man?
you, if it was up for cheeky, right, he'd be bringing Danilo back on a free. He'd be bringing, do you know what I mean? He'd be bringing in Dzeko to replace Haaland. Like, trust me, he'd be bringing back all the golden oldies, mate.
Why do you guys think Cheeky fell off? Because at one point he was the best sporting director in the world, and then next minute he's almost been like a penny pinching kind of guy. Like, what? Why do you guys think this has changed? Because we used to be so good with transfers.
I'll be honest here, right? I'll go first before Bevo. Right, sorry,
Go on.
But for me personally, right, I think what it is, I think over the years, we've had many great winners, haven't we? Of players that come in and sort of for like good prices. And obviously, we've had like sort of Mangala and that, who's not been good signings, obviously, in the past. But I think recently it's become a little bit very tactical. But we're trying to become more of a presence in the boardroom rather than asking what they want for the player. I'm not saying you can't negotiate for a player and get to a price you want to get it to, but it's too much fiddling around with it. Well, it's like Vardio. The whole mess of that is a release clause. Pay the release clause, mate.
That was crazy.
And the fact we always didn't get him because of it. Like, that should be a very simple deal. He's there for that price, long-term investment, pay the money, get the player in. But this is why in January, if Newcastle want so much Bruno and we want him, get him, pay the money, get him through the door. We can't do it anymore. Like, we have to start paying the money. It's not over top money, but the money that's right for the right player. Go on, Bevo, go on.
I've got a slightly different view. I get where you're coming from, but for me, the way that I see it is we've consistently been winning year in, year out. So the way that the board have seen it and the way that Pep's seen it is, why replace something that's not broken? But the problem that you've then got is you've got the likes of Bernardo Silva, and Rodri and all of these other players that are getting spammed out 3-4 times a week, game after game after game after game, and not getting any rest. And ultimately, they've got a lot of miles on the clock now. These players are 29, 30 years old with the bodies of 33, 34-year-olds, because they're getting spammed out left, right, and centre. And I think the board has seen it as, we won the Premier League last year. Why do we need to go and reinvest in bringing new signings? These players are capable of doing it for another year, and they've just kept prolonging it year after year after year, and until we're at the point now where it's like, oh shit, like, we should have started this investment like 2 seasons ago. You look at the year we won the treble. Kyle Walker had the likes of Vinicius Jr. on lock. He had the likes of Kingsley Coman and Leroy Sané on lock. But you can't expect him to do that next year, because next year he's a year older. But the way that they're seeing it is, he was sweet last season. Let's give him another couple of years on his contract, and let's get him to do the same again next year, and then the same again the year after. Yeah. And ultimately, we've paid the price on it. We've not reinvested at the right times. And I think what we've been doing, we've been saving the money up because we know that we're going to need to heavily invest at some point. But the problem that we've done is we've left it like a year or 2 years too late. That's my honest answer.
No, I think you're right, mate. Like, I think for me,
By the way, Rangers are 1-0 up against Spurs.
the Rangers are.
Rangers 1-0. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's brilliant. That's made me feel a little bit better.
Mate, Tottenham's only win the last few games against us. It's 4-0. Oh.
Yeah.
This club, only Tottenham Hotspur are only built to beat us. Nothing else. Just there to just lose to everyone else, yet beat us 4-0. I don't get this club when it comes to Tottenham. I really don't get it. It's some weird obsession we've got. Losing 3 or 4-0. But the thing is, right? I mean, like, for me in 2023, right, even after we won the treble, I think the fact that we were after Bellingham and Rice, it's clear that we should have got one of them at least, Rudolph. I think that should have been the aim. I know we had Rodri and then but Bellingham in this team right now.
We ended up with Kovacic and Nunes, mate. Look, do you know what I mean? Look at that for a drop-off.
Bellingham in this team right now will be perfect because he gets best out of Foden, gets the best out of Haaland, best out of everyone around him.
Either of them would be perfect.
But, yeah, exactly. But we went for the cheaper options because unfortunately, Ziki didn't pay the money up.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'll argue with you there. We've always done that. So you look at the likes of when we were after a centre back. You know, we looked at Harry Maguire and we didn't want to pay the price for Harry Maguire, and then it was like, all right, okay, well, we'll go and have a look at Koulibaly then. And we didn't end up getting Koulibaly. We ended up getting Ruben Diaz, which was our third choice because he was cheaper. Ultimately, then it worked for us. I think, to be honest, I don't know whether it was a string of luck or what. I don't know. But we ended up getting the right player in and the cheaper option. We've always kind of done this. We've always said, right, okay, we're going to go for this player. If we don't get him for that price, we'll move on to another player and we'll go for that. I think we were quite fortunate that we didn't get Koulibaly. I think we were quite fortunate that we didn't get Harry Maguire because ultimately in their respective clubs, they did nothing. You know, Koulibaly went to Chelsea. Now he's playing in Saudi Arabia. Harry Maguire went to United and he got ripped to shreds. Like he become a meme like overnight. Like, you know, I think that signing we fell a bit lucky, but then like we've always done that. You know, and then you go and have a look at who did we then go for? We went to get Calvin Phillips, and it was around the year that we ended up going for Calvin Phillips. That's where our luck sort of changed in the transfer window, and you could start looking at it and go, nah, these players that we're bringing in now, they're just not good enough. You know, you're replacing Mahrez with a prospect in Doku. You know, you're replacing 15, 20 G&A a season minimum with someone who's got the potential to do that. We don't want potential. We don't want potentials. We want players that can fill it. You know, since I'm just going to go since the year that we won the treble. So since we won the treble, we sold Laporte. We didn't replace him with a centre back. We ended up bringing Josko in, who was a centre back, but ended up playing him left back. So we've not replaced that centre back position. We didn't get anyone for that centre back position.
No.
And then you look at, okay, we brought in Calvin Phillips as a backup to Rodri. Didn't work out. We then bought, you know, Kovacic in and Nunes in, who ultimately they've not been bad signings, but not to the levels that you'd expect, you know, players to be at City. You've lost Doku and you've lost Mahrez and replaced him with Doku, who is, you know, a young up and coming prospect, but isn't going to guarantee you the G&A that Mahrez did. And you know, you then go and have a look at, okay, well, we brought in Alvarez, ultimately ended up selling him, and didn't bring anyone in to replace him. So you look at it, you've probably lost. I'd say between Alvarez, Mahrez, and you know other players like Laporte and things like that, you've probably lost. I'd say about 30 to 40 G&A a season.
I'd say 50.
From those three players, you've replaced them with players that don't bring that. So, like, you're losing 30, 40 G&A a season by replacing them with people who might give you that. Yeah. We don't need these mites. we need people that are going to come in. It's like that Scouser said, we don't need if buts and maybes. We need absolutes, and it's true. We need people that are going to come in and are going to bring this G&A, because you can't keep relying on Haaland. You look at Haaland this season. Who's our second top goal scorer behind that? What is it? Gvardiol with 3 goals or something?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like
December 12th.
Do you know what I mean? Who you need somebody when Haaland ain't firing. You need someone else that can pick it up and do it. And we were quite fortunate last year because Phil Foden had the season of his life. And if it wasn't for Phil Foden last season, we wouldn't have won the Premier League. We wouldn't have. But again, you can't expect him to do that. You would expect him to do that year in, year out, because that's where you go to the levels to then be considered world class. I don't put Phil Foden in the world class bracket because he's not consistent enough. The same with the players like Saka. I don't think they're consistent enough. World class is thrown around like for fun these days. But you need these players to be stepping up and giving this G&A, because you can't just rely on Haaland. And it proved it last night. We had one opportunity in the game last night, maybe 2 if you're lucky. One clear-cut chance anyway. And
who provided the assist for that?
That was for Haaland. That's what I mean. That was for Haaland. Where are your goals coming from? If Haaland ain't scoring, where's your goals coming from?
Yeah. Look, I think with the board, I think what it is with them as well, like, well said, mate. Everything you said, well said. I think, and thanks for Tony, if you're still there as well. Thanks for the comment, mate. But I think what it is with the board, I think they've got too comfortable, and they've took for granted Pep Guardiola. They thought, right, we've got the best manager in the world. We can just get him shit, and he'll turn it into glitter. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes you can't always do that. I'm not saying what we got is shit.
To overrule him as well. I think you need to roll.
I'm not saying what we got is shit, bro. But I'm saying it's not like what we got isn't guaranteed. Like you said, we got a lot of potential, and they thought, oh, Pep can just do that, click his fingers, and all of a sudden you've got all this potential. It's turned into a mad reality of success, which it's a lot to ask. Do you know what I mean? It is. It's a lot to ask. Like,
I think you need to overrule Pep as well sometimes. Sorry, I'm just going to add on what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you need to overrule Pep because, Pep's turned around and said, oh, especially around, not replacing Alvarez. He said, oh, well, we've got players that can come in and play that false 9 position if needed. And
I don't like that.
If I'm the board, I'd be turning around and saying, I'm overruling you here. We're light on players. We need, we're light on players. We need to bring in somebody, even if it's just one player. Absolutely right. Putting too much pressure on young players like Oscar Bob and Doku and Savio. These players are kids. If to be honest,
Rico
you could probably, Rico. You could probably say the same about Phil Foden because, I know he's. He's got 6 Premier Leagues now, and you'd probably say that he was like a bit of a seasoned player, but he's still 24.
So young.
He's still not hit his prime yet.
Yeah, he's still a baby, mate.
There comes a time where you've got to stop putting so much pressure on these young kids and actually bring in players. You're saying, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll be fine with the players that we've got." Nah, sorry, Pep, mate. I'm overruling you this time. We're bringing a player in whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, you're out the door. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Pep Guardiola, but he ain't bigger than the club. I'm sorry, he's not. And that goes the same for every player. That goes the same for anyone. You are not bigger than Manchester City. Don't get me wrong, I love you. And if it wasn't for you, you've given me the greatest years of my life. And I will forever be, in your debt for what you've given me over the years. But you ain't bigger than the club, and that's
you're right.
That's the way that
we were City fans before Pep was there, weren't we? So obviously, we support City. We don't support Pep Guardiola. With Pep, I think sometimes I don't believe a word he says, as well, because I think actually, even though he said, "Oh, we'll be all right," I think he's actually maybe just like looking after the club. Maybe really and truly in privacy, he's saying, "Look, guys, I'm actually not all right." But like what he is with the media, he makes things look good on media, innit? So when he's speaking to the media, he'll be like he'll just try and say everything's fine and that. But I think actually Pep's just pulling the wool over our eyes a little bit a lot of the time.
This is the one season, right, where I actually want to see a documentary behind the scenes. This is the one I love.
Oh yeah,
I love every single one we've had so far. Been great, but this season particularly, I want to know what's going on behind the scenes, because it's been a very difficult season. Like I said to you earlier on, since Brentford at home 1-2-1, since that game, it's got progressively worse just over time. Like even Arsenal, where it was a 2-2 draw, that was still a game where it could have been a loss or another game. It's gotten gradually worse, and then November it just hit a bad run of form. And I want to see, like, because bear in mind, right, inside City, right, I'm in a bad run of form, don't post anything, but actually get a win, I post it on there. And I think the club should post more stuff even when we lose.
I agree.
I want to see what's going on behind the scenes when we lose, because that for me means more when we actually win. I want to see what we're like, because that for me like will show us where these players are right now. Because I think I think all of them have given up. I just think it's some players in this team. Their time is done. And it's time to move on from them. Now, it's not me having a go at them. I just think that in January and the summer, we just start shifting players on if we can, and start bringing new ones in. And over time, we'll start seeing obviously a new team coming through. But you know what I mean? I want to see what's behind the scenes and how Pep's been, because Pep clearly isn't happy right now. He
definitely, mate. I think the inside City, that stuff, it's been rubbish, hasn't it? Recently, like the kind of coverage on there, it's been really rubbish. But in regards to that as well, I think like with the players that need to move on, and some players the heads aren't there anymore. I think that's because physically they're not there anymore. I don't really question the kind of mentality about these players. I think they all, love the club and they want to fight for the club. But I just think that like physically, like several players are gone, and even if it's not their age, because a lot of the players they're not even. It's not even an age issue. It's just a fitness issue. Like they can't stay fit. Like even some of the younger lads, like John Stones. I know he's not a spring chicken, John Stones, but I don't expect it to be injured like the way he is. It's crazy. So I think like mentally they're there, just physically they're not.
Yeah.
Bring up. I've just seen this Mr. Broad TV here. See if you can find that comment that Fabio Capello made about Pep.
Oh, okay.
And bring it up. Yeah.
All right, bear with me.
Because I tell you now, he's not the only person that thinks that. I don't know if you've seen it.
Capello said,
yeah, Capello's come out and said it today.
No way. I'd like
to see it. on Sky Italy.
Joe, what, right? Sometimes I do wonder this. Now, I'll post this in the chat. I'll put it in the comment. There we go.
Share it on your screen.
There we go. Obviously, I have to go over time, but yeah, so Guardiola is a great coach, but far too arrogant and presumptuous. At times, he's even lost trophies because he wanted to prove he was the one winning and not the players. So he dropped key figures for the result in big games. That was an attempt to take the spotlight and credit away from his squad. I mean, it's not exactly far off, but it's
dropping Fernandinho in the Champions League final was criminal, mate. Like,
and Rodri. Yeah, that was no DM, mate. Oh god. It's funny, right? I swear that midfield was the same midfield that played yesterday as well.
It probably was, mate. Yeah.
It's like 5 years later, we're still playing midfield. still exists. Like the last time we played Italy away at Champions League night, it was Gundogan, Bernardo, De Bruyne. I was like, is this team just never ending Gundogan, Bernardo, De Bruyne in Champions League nights?
This is what I was saying about the board. They're seeing players 3-4 years ago and going, oh, they can still do it. It's not a problem. Like, facts is they can't. They're 3-4 years older now.
Just to give a bit of context, by the way, we've had only 3 inside cities in the past month and a half.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, isn't it, man? I don't know what's going on with that, bro. It's absolutely crap at the minute. I don't know what that. Yeah, to be honest with you, though, I don't even think I would watch it at the moment. I'm so pissed off. I try and I don't even watch the highlights anymore. I used to watch after every game, no matter what. I used to watch the highlights. I try and watch the game back. I used to listen to what all the lads are saying. I used to listen to rival fans, and now I just switch off a bit. To be honest, I listen to a few people on YouTube, and that's it. I don't watch no highlights anymore. Even towards the end of the game yesterday, when they scored that second goal, man, I just felt like fucking turning it off, mate. It pissed off so much with the way this shit is. Like, honestly, man, it's fucking embarrassing, man.
It is, right. It's not the fact that, for me, right, look, I love winning trophies, and we all do. But for me, I love when the team plays good football and actually enjoying the football.
Exactly.
Like, I love going to a game, right, and seeing the players giving it their all, playing good football. Like, if we don't win the game, fair enough. It's football. You win some, you lose some. But at least go out there with a smile on your face, going for it. That's at least what's better. You're getting paid how much a week. Like, it should be a job that you love to do. Go out there and play football the right way. But at the moment, those players, as you know, rather not be there. It's so out of it, and it's like it's so. Do you know what? I've never seen it like this before. Like even 1920, right? It wasn't a great season, but it wasn't completely bad all the way through. It was moments that weren't great. That cost us the league overall, and obviously like a Leon obviously lost about 3-1. But it wasn't like this bad. Like, it wasn't this stark of a drop off, like a complete, utterly 180 just full collapse. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm trying to find a way around it. Like, can we here? But the thing is, it needs to be a mentality issue. Like Gundogan said perfectly after the game, it's a mentality issue. The players have lost the mentality, which is the one thing that we've had for the past 5 years. An elite mentality. And it's gone.
I want to ask Steve a question because every time a guest comes on, I always ask him the same thing. If we had an unlimited budget now and you were the director, the sporting director of City, unlimited budget, what one player would you bring in?
So the most important player that I think that we need right now? You know, I feel like Bellingham would be a popular answer because I think that's the most important position. I don't think anyone said
Bellingham, actually, to be honest.
No.
Well, the reason I say that, mate, is because I think his position is the most important position that we need. And arguably, he's probably one of the best kind of young talents in that position, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know listen, I don't like Bellingham. I think he's a knobhead, mate. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like him in it, so I don't even like to talk good about him. But listen, he's not a bad player, is he? No. But I think that position is the position that we need. For me, I don't just want to say Bruno because it's a bit like it's a bit popular, isn't it? It's a bit of a popular choice as well. I just think even that guy from Inter Milan, Barella.
Barella, mate, he'd be class right now. He'd be class.
Yeah, man. Go and get me him.
Do you know what? Right. Look, for me personally, if I could have
you know what? Yeah, I'll just jump in quickly. Yeah. That's who I said as well, Steve.
No way.
Yeah.
You're not daft, are you, mate?
I said that last week. Yeah.
I just think it's that position, mate. It's so important, and we don't have anyone in that position.
Energy.
Right, Gundogan's supposed to be that guy, and he's finished. Absolutely finished, mate. Anyone else in that position, he doesn't trust. So we fucked in it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I did say 3. I think I changed the question a little bit this week, but I said 3 last week. I think. And I think.
Give me another 2 then, mate. Give me another 2.
Yeah. Go on. Then.
Right. So another 2.
My choices. My choices were Van de Ven, Barella, and Gyökeres. I think those were my 3.
Gyökeres, nice.
Him and Haaland up front would be great.
Nice.
So
I'll go Barella. Yeah, I think we need 2 centre midfielders. So I'm going Barella, Bruno, and the third guy, Isaac.
Oh, what's a good choice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice one, that.
Yeah,
I like
great
that.
Player. That Bruno link up as well, you know, it's already there.
To be fair, for me personally, right, if I had to go 3, I'd go Bruno. I think Bruno offers physicality in that midfield that we desperately need right now. And he's good going forward and going back. He can do box-to-box midfield, and we need a guy like that.
And the one thing which he offers, which I've always said is really important to the team, is the amount that the player runs. So, like, I've always said, like, if we don't have Bernardo Silva in that midfield, there's no one that's going to run the amount that Bernardo Silva does, because he always puts in the kilometres. But I think last season or the season before, no one had run more than Bruno G. So it shows
Wow.
that he's, you know,
I didn't
he's
know
putting in the miles. Yeah.
Now,
Very
for me,
interesting.
as well as Bruno, I mean, look, obviously we need a right back, but I mean, for me, I've got stuck between two players now, because I've seen like Porro or Frimpong, because that's who I'm thinking at the moment.
Got to
Because
be Frimpong. It's got to be.
it can't be.
I agree,
Frimpong.
by the way.
It's got to be.
You know,
no,
I actually feel a bit bad that I didn't even say a right back in my three there, because we need a right back so bad.
We do.
We need
Like,
a right
I love
back so
Rico,
bad.
but he's not Rico. Right, Rico could be an option there, but he's been playing
Is
so
Van
many.
de Ven left-footed?
I think so. I think he is.
Oh, I was going to put him at right back. he's got pure pace.
But I think Frimpong, for me, like, he understands the system anyway, how we play anyway. Obviously playing the youth teams. I think also him actually playing with. Am I right in saying, wasn't he the same team as Foden?
Frimpong?
Yeah, or was that the year before?
Mate, he probably was, you know.
Because
Frimpong went to Celtic, I think, the year after Foden won his first Premier League, I think, maybe.
Right. Okay. So I think if you're often to say, right, Jeremy, Walker's gone. That number 2 shirt's now free now. Take it and be the right back, because this that we can't defend. But the thing is, to me, right, I don't really care as much, because I think I trust the actual centre backs to do a lot more anyway, and also him down that wing as well, attacking, crossing as well. We need it. We need someone else there who can cross the ball in, and him and Savinho as well down that right hand side. We're actually awesome to watch, because it gives Savio another option to pass to.
I think this is a big thing our wingers miss, you know, lads. Our wingers miss some traditional kind of overlapping fullbacks. People say Gvardiol's one of them. I don't really put him in that category. I think
he's centre back, mate.
He's not like, listen, great player and whatnot, and he's even good going forward as well. But like, he's not a traditional overlapping fullback, and that's a big thing that our fullbacks miss, because our fullbacks they haven't played without that the whole careers. Yeah, even throughout the academies, they all would have played with overlapping fullbacks. So that just gives them so much of an option. Right now, yeah, Doku was as good as he is in a 1v1 situation. When it was 3v1 against him last night, he didn't have a clue what to do, mate, because he's looking at free plays in front of him. And he's looking to the left. No one's making that run. And he's looking inside, and they're already blocking that pathway for him. So it's like we really missed that.
Thing, did you see Doku when he went over to the right last night? He got absolutely rinsed by Danilo. Every time he tried to take Danilo on, Danilo just tackled him.
He can't play there, Bevo, mate. He can't play on the right-hand side. I've tried to say it so many times, yeah. I don't know. Listen, when he did it at Chelsea, some people say, oh, he can do it. Like, what are you talking about? He can do it. He looks like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
He can't do it, mate. Because I'm not even saying anything against him about that. I'm just saying he's so like muscle memory. It's drilled in on that left hand side. He knows what to do. He can go on the left on the left hand side. He can go to the bar line, and he's even more comfortable going inside. But when he's on that right hand side, he can't really do anything, mate. He's fucked.
No. Doku on that left-hand side last night, until he moved over to the right, I'd have probably said Doku was one of our best players.
And
Absolutely, bro.
I would love a Theo Hernandez at left back, by the way. So he could bomb forward as well. If we go back to the bomb, I'll tell you right, this has hole now as well. Having fullbacks that overlap again, you'll start to get the crosses into the box to him, and then you might get movement out of him, because it means that the midfield.
I watched the Bayer
Leverkusen.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I was just going to say, I watched the Bayer Leverkusen game the other night, and I tell you, that Frimpong can put a cross in, you know.
Yeah. Oh, mate, and do you know what, right? I love it because the thing is as well, right? I know he's a City fan, I think, as well. He's a City fan. So in a derby, he'd give it his all. You know, anybody would. Like him, like, because we've already got Foden and Haaland already. get Jeremy in there. Really, you got a homegrown player as well. You grew up in the country as well. But bear in mind, I think I'm right in saying his family's still in Manchester still, I think, at the moment. He's often back in Manchester a lot, obviously with Germany. So I think he's waiting for that move to us. I think he knows that Walker's done. And I think for me, this is because it's kind of perfect time now for, say, right, you're what, like 23, 24 years old at this point now. You're still young enough to get better and better as well defensively as well, because he can get better defensively. People forget that, he's still young enough to actually learn how to get better defensively. He can get better.
I'm not having that, Bevo, mate.
I like, by the way, right, I like Anthony Gordon, but that's not the player I want right now for left wing.
I like him as well, yeah, but
not Bruno G, maybe Isak, but not Gordon. I like Gordon, but not for us. Rashford, yeah. Oh, mate.
Miss me with that. Me with that, mate.
If he was younger, I wouldn't be against it so much. But
I hate this guy. I looked at him on the bench tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
You know, with a few minutes to go, he's got his hood up like this. He's got his hood up. The only reason
I say is because apparently in January we've got 150 million to spend. That's our budget. So for me, I feel like we need to be spending that like to the limit. We need to be like taking that to the pence.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Bruno G, 60 mil. You know, even if we tested the waters, 40 mil.
That's a bargain,
that leaves 50 mil. That leaves 50 mil to go and bring in a right back / centre back.
Yeah.
So you could literally bring in Rashford, Bruno G, and potentially even Frimpong in January for 150 mil.
Rashford's one. I'm like, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I don't think Pep would have him either, mate, because I just think it's his attitude, Bevo.
No,
I'm with you doing it. His attitude absolutely stinks, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm with
you. I used to play with Rashford, sometimes. I used to play at Fletcher Moss,
Did you?
Yeah. Welbeck was there. Rashford. I played with Rashford a few times.
I tell you what, lads. Fuck it. Let's just sign Steve.
Steve, do your job. I'm
gonna get a rumor going now that Rico Lewis.
Bevo, you know something, mate? Yeah. Yesterday, I seen Tone post that he's gonna go for a run. I thought, let me try and get fit again because I'm so unfit right now, and I've started smoking and whatnot. And I went for a run. Yeah, I got halfway up the road and I was like coughing up nearly blood almost, mate. Absolutely lost it, mate. But yeah, I used to be decent.
Get this rumor going. Yeah, Steve's Rico Lewis's brother.
In the boxing gym, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, it's actually Steve there. Oh, mate. No, look, we all know what we need, right? And I think for me, I think Frimpong actually is probably the option that I reckon we'll probably go for. Maybe not January, but I reckon the summer definitely. The summer, I can definitely see him being bought in the summer. I think. Look, I'm being real here. I can't see Verts happening on Musiala. I think that's dead in the water now. I want it to happen, but I can't see unless we're told otherwise. Musiala, from what I'm hearing with Musiala, apparently it's Bayern. Is a new deal now? Apparently, he's got one, or is it?
Yeah, he's probably going to stay at Bayern. He wanted to be the poster boy, didn't he?
Yeah, it's going to be apparently. So, and do you know what? Good for him. He actually deserves it. He deserves that as well. He's a good of a player.
Yeah. But, how come he's not signed a contract yet, though? Is he still not signed it? What's going on?
I don't know actually. That's the thing. It's not even get like him and Verts right now haven't confirmed anything yet, they right now. It's still up in the air still, isn't it? So it depends like what we actually do. But I don't know. It's well,
it's a wonder that one though, isn't it? Because I thought like I was with you. I believed that he was staying at Bayern, and I heard that they offered him a new contract and stuff, like an improved contract, because I think that's what he's holding out for. So why is he still not signed it then? Like it's moving a bit mad.
Well, I know City spoke to Musiala's camp last summer. That's what I'd heard. That we were going to look to.
We should be doing, mate. We should be talking to all these guys' camps, mate. Verts should be trying to talk to all of them, mate. Because if you want to be a serious club, then you want to get the next up and coming best thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you take Wirtz and Musiala out of it, like, who have you got? Do you know what I mean? It seems like there's a massive talent drought at the moment.
Absolutely, this is what it comes down to, Bevo, mate. The talent thing is just shocking, man. What's going on? It's like you look at right backs, you look at full backs as well. What full backs is there out there, man? Like actual right, obviously Frimpong, but like, how much do we actually know about this guy? There used to be so many people that you could choose from in your own league that you knew could be certified ballers that you could go and sign for 50 million or whatever.
No,
I'm still under the opinion that I think the player we need to be going for in January is Douglas Luiz on a loan.
Oh yeah,
that's my opinion.
All day, mate.
Him and Bruno for me. Him and Bruno are getting straight away.
Bring both in. Douglas Luiz on a loan. Bring in Bruno G. Done. I'll be happy with that.
And then Joe Watt, right? That could keep Edison in the club.
Yeah,
Savinho, Bruno, Douglas Luiz, Edison. There you go. Got the Brazilian
sound of that.
Yeah, and it might actually give the actual a chance to get Brazilian players in their country to come over as well. Because I think Brazil's current national team, if you actually watch, I've watched a little bit of it where I can. It's an absolute mess. Like it's completely fell off. Like last 20 years or so. I'd love to get a few Brazilian players. Well, look, Jesus, I think we all thought we got better than what he was, but he ain't that guy. He ain't that guy for me. But I'd love to get a few Brazilian players in, young players in again. Like obviously Echeverri coming in, obviously January 12, which I'm actually looking forward to see how he does. Echeverri, I think I think as long as I don't play him every game, give him a chance as a substitute. He's an unknown player, isn't he? I know obviously people watch him in Argentina, but he's an unknown kind of prodigy. We have no idea what we're getting him. Like obviously different to what Alvarez came in for. Obviously Alvarez came in and did a great job overall.
He hit the ground running, didn't he?
He did Alvarez, yeah. He did a great job. I mean, this is the thing. I want Rodrigo as well, but this is the thing. We need to know if one is he gonna leave Madrid right now? I mean, is he on the bench now right now? Or is he starting still?
No, he's on his
off the bench.
He's bench for Ardagula, isn't he?
This is what I mean. I think that's a move.
Because they have too many players, mate. That's not because of Rodrigo's fault. I think they just have that many players.
Imagine you got him right on the right hand side, right, and you got either Doku or Savio who want to go on the left.
I'm putting Rodrigo on the left and Savio on the right, mate, and then Haaland down the middle.
And you got Frimpong and a left back overlapping the side. Oh, mate, that.
Yeah, because the perfect thing is, you put a left-footed player on the right wing, so they cut in on the inside, which then allows space for the right back, like Frimpong, to go bombing up the right-hand side, because then they'll be in space. So as you've got Savio sort of coming in, you've got Frimpong coming up along the right-hand side. It's perfect. It is actually perfect.
Do you remember, right? I actually recently watched back every goal, right, in 17-18. I watched it all back recently, right? And I've noticed a lot more the way Walker raced down the right hand side and able to cut it across all the time. And you have Mendy or Delph obviously playing left back doing the same thing. I thought we missed that. This current team needs that system back.
Who thought we'd ever say we miss Fabian Delph, mate? Who thought we'd say that?
But mate, he's the best left back I've seen in the club for years, mate. He's like, look,
he was underrated in midfield as well, you know, man.
He was
he's better than Calvin Phillips. I'll tell you that.
He better mate. That price we got him for, a bargain price we got him for as well. Obviously, overall,
what did we get him for? Like 17 million, was it something like that?
Yeah, mate, and he was a good player for us as well. He was a utility.
Or was
player.
it 8 million? I think he was 8.
Yeah, and Bear might play left back, midfield, anywhere on there. Basically, what Rico's doing right now, but a lot better.
Yeah, but he had the physicality in it, like which Rico obviously doesn't have.
And the basics as well.
Oh, hey, Luke, don't you be dissing Steve's brother there, mate. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, he's young still, he's 20 years old. But that's what we need. We need to go back to. I'm not saying that system exactly, but a version of it that we can sort of get the players back. Because I think Haaland needs it as well. Haaland needs that kind of system because we've got to start. Look, I'm not saying always find Haaland, but it gets the best out of the wingers as well. score more goals, get more assists. Because I think if we start doing that, teams will have no idea what to do. Who to mark? Because you have fullbacks overlapping, you have defenders obviously going back in, and they'll go back in. I want to see that like Rodri, Bruno Guimaraes, and De Bruyne or Foden that midfield. Imagine that midfield, like a physical presence midfield, like back again. Obviously, Rodri's not back to the summer anyway, but you start seeing a more physical presence overall.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need. If we get back to that level, I mean, even like Jesus and Aguero, you remember that time when we actually had two up front with overlapping fullbacks?
Yeah.
Like that Liverpool game, we won 5-0. You watched the game back. It was like
Sane goal, yeah. We just need the option.
That's
whether you want to play that
goal.
system or not, yeah. We need the option of being able to go two up front. We need the option. At the moment, we don't have that option.
Because, mate, your Operation Haaland, right? I'm not saying Operation obviously as the option himself, but someone like him who can also score goals like that as well. Having it puts the pressure on Haaland. It shares the pressure because Alvarez will actually flourish at a team. Him and Haaland together, big man, little man. That's what we need to do. I think that's for me the actual solution to the issue we've got right now. But obviously, it requires players coming in and a change of personnel to do that. But in the long term, I want to see us go back to that system again. More exciting football. I'm off my seat watching like fullbacks and wingers overlapping, doing skill moves again. Obviously, crossing it in, Haaland header, and start battering people down 4 or 5 nil again.
The thing is, though, this guy he needs to start improving on his aerial play because
he does. Facts.
It's never been a part of his game, and that's the thing that worries me. You can get players that can put in good crosses into the box, but if the guy don't know how to finish with his head, then it's pointless.
Against Palace, though, I was like, do that more because you can do it. Like they've got the ball in the box. Because I'm not saying do it all the time, but you can score a header. You can do it.
That's why
I think with Haaland, it's like a concentration problem, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why normally when you see Haaland score like aerial goals, they're never with his head. They're normally with like his feet.
His feet, yeah. But like he even misses
to
simple chances with his feet though as well. Do you know what I mean? Like he misses a lot of sitters, and I think that comes down to concentration.
KDB contract extension. I wouldn't mind doing it for 1 year. I wouldn't mind it because I think look, it depends on the options. The options we get to replace. Look, no matter what, right? You'll never ever replace Kevin De Bruyne overall. Kevin De Bruyne is a player that's irreplaceable. He will be. You got to find a different player to take that role. Someone who's obviously different, not the same player, because you won't ever get the same as Kevin De Bruyne. But what we need is someone to step up in that role and do a job. Foden should be that player, but Foden's in a weird spot again, where we're now wondering, can he do it? Because he did it last year really well, but it needs to be every year, not just 1 year, then a shit year. Then it needs to be a consistent level of form from him. That's what I want to see from him. But
yeah. I think with KDB, he has to show me he can stay fit, man. Because I can't have a repeat of these seasons at the moment. I know how good he is when he's fit, but I need to see him being fit because otherwise, I'll make space for someone else. You know what I mean? I'm willing to be a bit ruthless now because we obviously haven't been that very ruthless recently, and I think that's why we're in the mess that we're in. And I don't want to add to that by extending KDB and then it's the same bullshit again next season when he's out for 2 months, 3 months, and whatnot. You know, I'd rather make space for someone else.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I think Haaland's better at that as well. But the thing is, we need to actually change the team up then to suit that. Because I think this team's been playing inverted and the way it's been for a long time. Now, I get why we changed it because of the Champions League. But you can still play good football and defend well. There's no like one or the other. Like, what we got to do is, one, find a structure that works defensively when we're not getting overrun in defence. But also a way that gets our attackers playing better while going forward. There is a way we can do this.
Rangers 2-1.
He's offside.
He's
Game on, man.
He's offside, is he?
He's offside. Rangers just missed a 1-on-1, and now they've just scored, but he's offside. He's miles offside. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think with this whole Haaland debate, I wouldn't be building my team around Haaland. I would be looking for players that can get goals and assists when Haaland ain't on it. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want to be building your team around one player, and then ultimately, if that player has an off day, you got no one there to get the G&A for you, and that's kind of the position that we're in at the moment. We're relying on, Phil Foden to come back and start firing again, which you can't just be relying on maybe like one or two players. And I think for me, like the biggest problem is we're far too reliant on Haaland getting goals. And give it another 2-3 years, is Haaland even going to be with us? And then we've
at
just
this rate, no chance, mate.
Yeah, we've just built a team around a guy who ain't even there. What we need to, it's inevitable. Erling Haaland, no matter what, in a season, is going to get you goals. He's going to get you goals. He's going to, because he's too good of a goal scorer not to. But the problem is at the moment we're so heavily reliant on Haaland getting us goals, and that's the reason why we're not scoring, because we've got no one else that can score goals. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, who gets the odd goal now and again, but he's the creator. He's the one that's been the player to feed these balls into people to score. Now, when Haaland ain't on it, like, we're getting goals and assists from nowhere. Like, if like we say about Rodri, if Rodri's picks up a knock, we're screwed. We're the same with Haaland. We don't have a number 9 that we can bring in to the team to replace him. And we need to stop focusing our mindsets around one player. And, you look at the season where we didn't have a striker. We were getting goals and assists from everywhere. We were getting goals and assists from Mahrez, Phil Foden, Kev,
Gundo,
Sane, all of these different players. They were bringing in goals and assists. Whereas now it's like, if
Cancelo used to get goals as well, man.
Yeah. If Haaland gets injured, we're screwed. Because we're without Rodri, who is kind of like the machine in the midfield that kind of helps us from conceding the amount that we are conceding. But then if we lose Haaland, we ain't getting goals either. And at the moment, we ain't getting goals anyway. You look at the last few games, yeah. Sporting Lisbon 4-1, Spurs 4-0, Juventus 2-0, Liverpool 2-0. Out of those 4 games, we've scored 1 goal.
Yeah, it's mad.
We're not scoring as well, mate. Yeah, Rodri as well, like you say there about he helps us not conceding so many goals. He helps the way we attack as well massively. Like, he starts the attacks. Do you know what I mean, bro? Every single attack starts from him. Like, never mind his goals and assists, because he gets them as well. But the way that we play the ball out from to get the ball from defense to attack, he does all of that, mate. He's the connector. So that's how massive of a loss he is.
If I was the club now, I would be giving Rodri whatever he wants, literally signing him up to a lifetime contract. Keep him till he's 33, 34, and just be like, you're finishing it. Like, you cannot go anywhere. Like, he can't.
I think he'd be flattered by that as well, bro. I think he'd be flattered by that.
I think he'll stay. I can't ever see him go Real Madrid, because he's
give this guy $500,000 a week. I don't care. Just splash all the cash on him. Yeah, just keep him.
The way that Real Madrid treated him in the Ballon d'Or ceremony as well,
that helps out.
He can't look at them the same way.
No. And Joe, what I was at one point, I want to see him next season.
Out of respect for Atletico, anyway.
Yeah,
surely.
That's kind of like a player going from City to United, isn't it? And when you've grown up being in the the team around Atletico Madrid, and he's grown up through the ranks in that team, and went on loan to like Villarreal, I think it was, but ultimately he was he's an Atletico boy through and through. He ain't that's like Phil Foden going to United. It ain't going to happen. It's just the media talk. The media are talking at the moment about City are planning on selling Ruben Diaz to release funds to get a new centre back. Why would
not?
Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like it's the most pathetic paper talk going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. The thing is, right, I never thought I'd say this, right, but the way they play at the moment, right, the women's team, right, is doing the exact thing that we should be doing, by the way. I know Chelsea are better than us right now, but yeah, I'm sure you're watching, but in our Champions League group, we're actually winning our games. Like, we're actually getting wins.
Mr. Broad TV said, "What's our team for the derby? Should we do the usual?"
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. But
do you guys want me to stay on, or do you want me to chip off? Or...
Yeah, go for it, mate. Yeah, stay on.
Stay on. I appreciate it, lads.
You can have some input in this as well.
Top one, lads. Appreciate
it. So what we do is, in the run up to the next game, we put what we think the team's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm keeping the same name, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I'm keeping the same name for Briggsy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. The thing is, to me, right, is that even if we win on Sunday, right, obviously I'll be buzzing when we do win, but it's kind of like in the context, I'll be like, I'm happy, but I'll need to see more before I start getting excited. You know what I mean, that's where I'm at right now. Where
we can't let it pay for the cracks, can we?
Exactly. Like, as much as a derby win gives a massive boost, it's still not going to really change my output of the season, really. Have a look at
it. What are we saying, lads? Edison or Ortega?
Ortega for me. Ortega.
I think Pep's going to play Ortega, mate.
Because Edison didn't.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Because Edison, for me, right, hasn't done anything to say to me that he does be starting. He hasn't.
I think what we'll do is I'll do the nailed on players,
right?
Pretty much.
Is Akanji fit for Sunday? Is that confirmed, or is he not back yet?
I don't know.
I don't think he's going to be, because I think we would have heard. I think we probably would have heard it by now, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
So that means Carl.
I'm not doing it. I'd rather put Edison at right back. I'm not stopping Kyle Walker in.
Is this the team we want, guys, or is this the team that we think Pep's going to do?
We want
a mixture of both, really.
Edison right back.
All right.
Basically a mixture of both, like what we think could be realistic, but what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
By the way, Spurs drew. By the way, so since they beat us 4-0, they've drawn 3 and lost 2.
You know.
Why us? Why is it always us, man? It's always
us. Personally, for me, I'd be doing this.
So it's what we want within reason, and there's no point in saying what we want, and it's just there's absolutely no chance of it. There's no point in that, is there?
Yeah.
So it's what we want within reason.
Because I can't see Foden starting Sunday.
No, I can't.
No, because you didn't come on, did he? So
no, but I think he's done a film.
We're pretty much saying, are we saying Grealish as a cam and Doku as a right left winger?
Yeah, I'm with that, bro.
100%.
Problem is here. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark and say, since he was on the bench,
yes. We not Gundo, no.
Since Kovacic was on the bench against Juventus, he's obviously somewhat match fit. I would be starting Kovacic if it was me.
Because in Pep's comments as well, he said that he can come on and play some minutes. He didn't say that about Foden. So I'm hoping that Kovacic is a bit more further up in terms of fitness than Foden. So yeah.
Are we saying right wing? Are we saying Savio or Silva?
Bernardo.
I want Savio on me, mate.
So, but I love seeing Bernardo on that right wing. It's Forest. That's not even my reason. But again, I wouldn't mind Savio. It's a hard one because either way,
I just think Savio, he's been out of the team a little bit. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be a bit more fresh.
I'm going to overrule on. I'm going to be the decider on this because obviously,
go on, mate.
You said, only because of the amount of minutes which Bernardo's played.
Exactly, that's my point. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And now we've got the problem with the defense. Basically, yeah, we've got Gvardiol, but do we put him left back or centre back?
Right. Let's clarify first. Akanji is not fit. Is that confirmed?
Akanji is not fit. I'm guessing Ake's not fit either.
No, Ake, no chance, mate.
No. Which means one thing then, mate. It means Rico left back.
What about
right back again? No.
Is Stone still not fit?
No.
It's going to be Walker and Rico.
I don't know, man. I think Gvardiol could play left back, and I think he could put JSP in.
Right. I wouldn't mind that because I trust him with Diaz, but I don't want Walker and Rico again at fullbacks. That was awful to watch. That wasn't.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Exactly.
Right. I've got an idea.
Just find a way without them. That's it. That's right.
Oh,
he's
suspended as well.
Suspended. Thank you.
Forgot about that.
Clarifying that. Thank you very much. He's suspended, by the way. Bevo.
Who is?
Rico.
Oh, he is. You're right. Oh no.
Which means
that's just derailed my plans because I was trying to find a way where Walker don't get in this team, and what I was going to do was Rico Lewis at right back, Ruben Diaz with Simpson Pusey at centre back.
Yeah, no.
You could always put JSP right back.
No, I don't.
No.
I'm not putting centre back right back. In Derby. Like,
You're gonna have to play Walker, innit?
Yeah. Do you know what?
Who plays for right back at the academy?
Hold on, I'll let you know. Hold on. Call him up. We're not playing fucking
Scott Carson there.
Scott Carson.
Can you imagine, lads?
I'm taking sorry now at this point.
You know, the old City would have beat United with Scott Carson in the back. I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
Right. Just to clarify. So, our defenders, our academy, we've got Caden Braithwaite. Is he a centre back?
Yeah.
Ezra Carrington.
Don't know that guy.
Well, Harrison Parker. I know
think...
him. Harrison Parker.
Don't know him either, mate. He doesn't give West Brand a chance, man.
Do you know what? I'd do it.
I would as well.
The time is now.
Right.
Give a chance.
Obviously, this ain't the right guy, yeah. But
Joe, what? Sign him up. Free transfer.
Like, if you look at this realistically, yeah, this is the only back four that we can play.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking, who the hell is this guy at centre half? I've just seen his name.
Yeah, it's because Simpson Pusey don't exist.
Yeah.
Oh God. But,
the only other thing that you could do here, yeah. The only other thing that you could do here Let me.
Let's have a look. So, Ezra Carrington. Right.
This is the only thing that you can do, really.
Ezra Carrington's right back. Yeah, apparently he's pretty good. Derby Day. Pull up. Number 84, Ezra Carrington playing right back.
I think I quite like that, Bevo.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. Do you know what? That's fine with me. Overloaded midfield. Yeah.
You mean like he'd be inverting though, so he'd be a left back inverting midfielder?
It's the only thing really that you can do.
Yeah.
It's the only thing. Play free at the
that's
back.
Beautiful, mate.
It's the only thing you can do. Because we haven't got centre backs or defenders. So I would, rather than bringing in like a Simpson Pusey or someone like that, just play 3 at the back and then have 2 CDMs. And then when they're on the account, when they're on the counter, what you're effectively doing is dropping one of them into like sort of this. You're dropping them into like sort of this position.
Yeah.
And then when we're on the attack, you're effectively bringing them out to the positions that they were in before.
Yeah,
I don't.
I like it, innit?
But
I don't see any other way.
Mr. Brawl says Bevo in the Pep, apparently. So
take that.
You're endorsed now, Bevo. You're endorsed as manager. Do you know what?
That's the thing.
Yeah. And do you know what, right? We needed a defender, don't we? A defender. Desperately.
Yeah. The only thing that you do in here is when we're on the attack, you can't afford Walker bombing it up. You can't afford Gvardiol bombing it up, which then means that these 3 defenders, their sole focus in the entire game is just defend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you leave Bernardo to do the running out on the right, and you effectively have Grealish running on the left, which then keeps cover at the back to make the 4th defender if needed.
Yeah,
it's the only thing you can really do, because we haven't got the defenders to do it. So why risk putting in a centre back in it? Because let's face it, don't get me wrong, Simpson Pusey, he's been all right. Yeah, I've been quite impressed with him considering the situation he's been thrown into. But you're talking about a Manchester derby here.
Yeah.
There's some things that you don't chuck kids into. So for me, just keep those 3 at the back and let the 2 in front, Kovacic and Bernardo, be the ones that then either stay back and defend and help out the defense, or then go and dictate the play. It's the only thing you can do.
No, I agree with that one. I think that's good. And Nick is perfectly actually, because Cover and Bernardo are doing the job of good one anyway, so that actually would be much better anyway. What we've already got. Full DS, Joe, what right? There's EDS who beating the main team. That 5 times out of 6 times in training, so why not play the full DS team, mate? At this point, can't be any worse than the first team right now. But look, let's be real, right? That won't be the team on Sunday. I'd love it to be, but it won't be. It will not be a team.
Yeah, I hope Pep considers it though, because overloading the midfield, it's the only way that we're going to stop these counter attacks. It's the only way.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe, if this is the team he actually goes with, then I'll be up for it. But I want to see what I want to see on Sunday, right? Is different, Pep. So a bit of a change up, not just the same stuff we've seen recently. A bit more progression, like try and counteract the issues we've got so far. Obviously, players in if we can, but for the here and now this month, find a way around it. Don't just lose every game. Just go for it. Big up, Rich. Probably got a big chance on Sunday. Well, mate, honestly, the way it's going, mate, now, I wouldn't blame you for actually having that. And by the way, I will be on Rich's channel. I think on Saturday. I think I've got to sort of clarify that, but I'll be doing a preview with him at some point. So that'll be good. On Rich's channel at some point.
Rich, jump on and have a quick chat about the derby on Sunday, mate.
Yeah, I've put it out on my Twitter page. So just go on my page, mate, and see the latest link. You better join there, mate.
Yeah. Before Rich joins? What are we saying for the result? Do you reckon?
1-0 City. I don't care. Give me a win. Give me something.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I'm going to be real here. Yeah, I'd take a draw. I'd take a draw. Just don't get humiliated. And just don't get embarrassed, and just come off the pitch with something.
Yeah.
A 1-0 win. We win. It's a clean sheet of some kind. We need them. We need to start something. And even if we do win, I don't want to see a loss straight afterwards. It needs to be a win and another win after that. Got to see some sort of progression, man. We can't keep doing this. Like, win 1-0. And there is Rich. Big up, Rich. How you doing, mate?
Let me just mute your stream.
That's fine. No worries, mate. That's fine. How you doing, mate? All good?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, we just beat some minnows, so it's all good.
We won a game at least. Fair play to you.
Yeah. After we got rid of Ten Hag, we've won 3 games in Europa League. So Van Nistelrooy won 1, and we won a couple now. So we might get through without having to do a playoff, which would be at least one good thing this season. I'm not that confident about Sunday.
Something like that.
It's first away win, isn't
it? First away win in Europe in 18 months or something like that.
It's ridiculously bad, isn't it? Like, ridiculously bad. I don't know. I think we're still at the bottom at the moment. But to be honest, this is probably the worst the 2 Manchester teams have been for decades. Like, you're 1 win in 10, where 13th in the league. It's like the worst Manchester United have been for about 30 years.
True.
Yeah, it's been terrible. I mean, I can't see it being a high scoring game on Sunday anyway. Even if someone was to win, it won't be a high scoring game at all. It'd be a very.
I agree with you on the 1-0 as well, because I think if we're going to win, we're going to have to try and sneak a win. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to win convincingly. No way.
The only reason I'm saying it's not going to be 1-0 is because when was the last time we had a proper clean sheet apart from the Forest game? We always concede.
Southampton 1-0. I was there as well. Last time I won a game. Yeah, it's been a while. I think the thing is, Rich, I think you'll say it as well, right? Obviously, it's a derby, so for any kind of form that there was there from other teams, that window anyway. But obviously, there's no form from anyone, so it's kind of like just a random game where no one has any idea who turned up on Sunday.
Did you watch us against Forest?
I did, yeah. Forest done better.
With that, I don't even know if Forest were any good, because the goals we gave away were just like one is a goalkeeping error that's just really, really bad goalkeeping. The other is a defender just watches the ball go over the line and doesn't move, and one's just a set piece. And just think, Forest just must be thinking we didn't really have to do anything to win that game. And like tonight, we like Nana kicks the ball straight to their player. I don't know if you saw that. There was he was trying to pass to someone that was behind 2 other opposition players. And I don't really have much confidence in my team. I think we can possibly score goals, but I'm looking at the results City are getting and just thinking, I don't know what's going on with City. Because I watched you at the start of the season where I thought you weren't playing that well, but you just seemed to get results. And I just thought, okay, it's been one of those seasons. And now I think the performances, like the results are matching the performances, whereas at the start of the season, you weren't that great, but you kept getting wins. And I'm just wondering whether you're just fearing the problems of having a few underwhelming transfer windows, which by City standards, you had a phenomenal team when you won the treble. A bit like I can talk from Manchester United when we won things and say, look, we had a ridiculous team. When you don't get the transfer windows right, so you don't replace Rooney or you don't replace Ronaldo, you don't replace Vidic. In your instance, you don't replace, say, like Mahrez, you don't replace Sterling, or you replace them with players that aren't quite as effective. It takes a bit of time, but gradually your overall quality of the squad isn't quite there. And I think sometimes the Premier League's a bit unforgiving. And to be honest, I'm a bit surprised by how bad it's got so quickly. Maybe the Rodri injury isn't in itself it hasn't helped, but maybe it's highlighted some of the other issues. And suddenly all these things have kind of added up, like a few injuries. And then the players you have to rely on are not as good. Like, Manchester United went from being a regular top 4 team under people like Ollie, not winning things. And then when we dropped off with Ten Hag, we just dropped like a stone. And you think, wow. And we tried we built our squad so poorly that our most experienced players are now actually too old. We need to move them on. And then the other players we're bringing in, like Højlund, Garnacho, Mainu, they're too young really in terms of at their peak. So we don't really have anyone that's at their peak. And the players we do, like, who's that? Rashford's the only one that's like 27, and Diallo. Our squad build is like really poor. So it's going to take ages to sort that out. And City might be doing that. You're not as bad.
Well, what do you make of this potential clear out, mate? Have you heard of this potential clear out that's been rumored at United? Apparently, like 6 or 7 guys have been sold. Like, basically, they can look for another club.
I think they're going to, like, the last transfer window in the summer.
I think the dinner
a lot
lady's
of players moved on. What?
I think the dinner lady was told the same thing. I think they're getting rid of the groundsman. I've heard, and I think the latest move swapping out the staff bonuses for £40 M&S vouchers, isn't it? Something like that.
I've seen that.
The raw chicken that she's been serving up, Bevo. She's been serving up raw chicken, man.
I think Radcliffe's going for like I don't know, if you tried to like Google PR disaster, you'd probably just find that as an example. I don't know what that, for me, that's just like, how much money do you save really? Like, how much money do you save by giving staff at the club £40 instead of £100, or £60 per person? How many people are there? You probably pay Anthony the same amount per week. It's just ridiculous. It's just like stupid, isn't it? It's not saving money, is it? It's just being an asshole for the sake of it. I don't know why they're doing that. I think the rebuild thing is true, but I think it's just you look at Manchester United, who are our best players, and are they good enough? And probably not. So you probably look at it and go, they just need to buy a lot of players, but we can't buy players like we want to, in terms of like, we need to do what Chelsea have done over the last few years, where you get a high volume of players in.
So do we, mate.
But you also got to sell well. Like, we're not selling players. Like, players are running the contract down, where players go through Chelsea, they go through the academy, they don't make it. They cost £20 million each, and they bring in quite a lot of money that way. Yeah. So
I've got a question.
I don't think you'd win 4-1.
I've got a question for you, Rich, because I've seen a lot of noise from City fans sort of over the last, probably the last few weeks anyway, of, dishing out poor performances, and a lot of our fans are turning around and saying, oh yeah, but we've won the treble. Now, speaking from somebody from experience like yourselves, who went on to win the treble, when do you feel like is the right time to say, okay, but that was years ago now? We're not, fair enough. Yeah, we did that years ago. But if you want to be considered as an elite club, you have to perform year in, year out, and at least compete year in, year out for trophies. So I kind of feel like, yeah, we won the treble, but you're talking 2 years ago now. And at the end of this season, it'll be 3 years ago. So, like, going into next season, it'll be 3 years ago. So for me, like, at what point do we stop saying, yeah, okay, yeah, we won the treble, and actually realize that the club's now on a decline and we don't want to get to that point?
Yeah.
Like, you see what I mean?
You know, though, Bevo, mate, the transfer window, yeah, that's where you have to perform as well, mate. The transfer window is arguably just as important as the season, because depending on your transfer window, depends on how your next season is going to go. And if you're not winning the transfer window, you're not going to win in the league, mate. In the league table.
You know, you look at United now, and don't get me wrong, we're not at that position yet. You know,
we're going to end up that way, though, mate. If we carry on like this, let's not kid ourselves.
Exactly, yeah. You know, we're not 10 years down the line without a Premier League yet. You know, but
and the rest,
poor transfer windows could basically, you know, start to see this decline, because let's face it, when Pep goes, we're going to naturally see a decline anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't hear, you know, United fans now losing to Forest or Palace or whoever and saying, yeah, but we won the treble in 1999. Like, there comes a point where you have to stop talking about things that you've done in the past and realise, okay, you have to have a future in this as well.
I think it depends on the when Manchester United won the treble in '99, they won the league the next 2 years quite easily, because I think they just had the best team by a distance, and the only competition really was Arsenal. And what happened really was there wasn't really competition in the league, so it felt quite easy. A bit like it must feel fairly easy over the last 4 or 5. You've won 4 in a row. I mean, that hasn't happened before. So you haven't really had competition. So you maybe get complacent in terms of your window. What happened for us really was Mourinho's Chelsea, when they came along and they dominated football for 2 years. They were like really they stepped up a level, and their team was phenomenal. That kind of forced an aggressive rebuild where Manchester United had to get Ronaldo, Rooney, Ferdinand, Vidic. We had to build a ridiculous team to fight against Chelsea. And I think at the moment, looking at Arsenal, they've been your best competition for 2 years. I look at the Arsenal team. There's barely any of those players that get into like the 2004 team or the '98 team. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but is there anyone as good as Bergkamp, Vieira, Overmars, Thierry Henry? I don't think they're anywhere near that level. But they've been your best competition. I think City got over the line last year. And the points total is crazy, but I wouldn't worry about how many points you accrue, because I think there's a lot of weak teams in the league. But I don't think you got pushed as hard as you did. Like when Liverpool were at the very peak and they had Mo Salah, a younger version, a better Van Dijk, maybe like Trent was similar, but they had probably a better team than almost like better than they've got now. You were pushed a bit harder. I think Arsenal, they're your only competition, but I don't think Arsenal are anywhere near the level of Arsenal teams I've watched us battle with. And I think when we had just Arsenal to fight, we didn't get necessarily complacent, but I think when you have strikers, like, so we had Dwight York and we had Andy Cole, when they move on, you don't necessarily replace players, do you? And when we lost Schmeichel, you don't necessarily get a goalkeeper as good. If you lose Højlund, they might struggle to try and replace him with a striker that works as well. So it's not as easy just to go, oh, we just need to buy another goalkeeper, or we just need to buy another striker, because they don't necessarily fit as well. So I think with City, you might be okay, but it might be a case of you're not as well prepared as a team like Chelsea that have been like aggressively rebuilding, bringing in lots of players for the last couple of seasons, because they're trying to build their team. They've got a really good squad now. They've also got quite a lot of depth. I don't think City fans need to panic, but your January and your summer transfer window, I think they've got to be pretty good, because you've got to try and refresh the squad. People like Walker, like how old's Walker? Like 36?
34.
34. But it's phenomenal how good he's been for so long. And I think we had like a back four of, say, Evra, Neville, Ferdinand, and Vidic for years, and then they all hit the wall at roughly the same time. So we were screwed, because when we had people like PK came from Barca, he would have been a great defender to have, but he couldn't get in the team because we had Vidic and Ferdinand, so he left. So it's really difficult bringing players in when they're going to get hardly any games, just to kind of step in when players move on. So I think inevitably at some point you can have a bump in the road, because you can't keep refreshing your squad. Like, you can't win every league title for like a decade. It's really difficult, because even players that win like 3-4 titles in a row, they want to leave. Like Mahrez probably just wants first team football, or we had players that retired, or players that then want to either move to a different country. Like Haaland might want to go somewhere else. I think it's really difficult. The fact you've won 4 in a row, you could have gone for 5 this season, although it looks unlikely. I think you just got to rebuild your next team now. And it depends if Pep's going to be leaving in a year or two. You probably got to try and do what Ferguson did, where we got Van Persie was pretty much like a bonus title because we were on the way down, and Van Persie just had a phenomenal season that fired us to the title. But that team that won the title then, we were nowhere near the level we were previous years. Like you look at our team, we were nowhere near.
What I would say about the year that Fergie left, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like Fergie left that United team in absolute dire straits.
Yeah, because Fergie always had this plan though. There was always like a rebuild plan. So when we had Van Nistelrooy, we were looking for like Rooney to come in. When we had other players, and when Ferguson decided to retire, he was always like looking 2 or 3 years down the line. And maybe what Pep Guardiola, he's been doing the same sort of thing. If he's about to leave, at some point, Pep Guardiola doesn't care who's going to be in the Manchester City team in 3 years' time. Whereas if Ferguson was in charge and he thought, right, I'm going to be in charge for at least another 5 years, he wants the team in 4 or 5 years to be phenomenal. When you start getting towards ending, then maybe it's just it's probably a combination of a few things. One, Fergie was getting pissed off with the Glazers because they sold people like Rooney. They sold people like Ronaldo and didn't replace him with adequate quality. Other players weren't getting replaced. And you could see the writing on the wall. As a fan, I'm just watching it thinking, I watched Ronaldo and now I've got, like, who was it? We bought Obertan and Michael Owen and I think Valencia. You think, wow, okay, it's just it's nowhere near the level, is it? And then, but Van Persie's goals were enough to get a title, and then you could look at it and go, at the same time we're signing those mediocre crap players, you're buying like Yaya Toure, and you're buying like Company, and you're buying elite players that are coming in. Well, we had the best team to start with, and then we just didn't replace it. You had the best team. But you need like a younger Walker,
ultimately,
like
mate, that's your owners as well, isn't it? It seems to be everybody's downfall. It comes from the owners, really. Like United's downfall, it's the owners, the recruitment that they made. City at the moment is the recruitment that we've been doing. It's a pattern, isn't it? It comes from the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At our club, the owners make really bad decisions, but player-wise and recruitment-wise, and then the managers just get cycled through, like every couple of years, just get cycled through, and it feels like an endless process because then you look at the squad and think the squad's not good enough. It doesn't really matter who's the manager, but the manager has to come in, try and work with what he's got. And you had quite a few managers before Pep, but you seem to have success because you had a very good team. And like Chelsea, they always had quite a good squad, didn't they? When they had a lot of managers coming in for 1 or 2 seasons, they always had success. And I think Manchester United need to get around to a different way of operating where instead of like getting a manager in and like saying, right, Ten Hag, right, how many Ajax players do you want? Right, all of them, great, we'll buy those. No, we need to go for like a more sensible approach and go, look, we're going to build the squad like Chelsea do, and just assume the manager won't be here for more than a couple of seasons. And we can't replace the whole squad every 2 seasons. So we can't have people that played for Mourinho, people that played for Van Gaal, or like people that played for Ollie, all these different players profiles in one squad. It doesn't work. You need to like build a squad, and that's why we've got a director of football. Although we have just sacked him, so that's going well. But what you need to do is like build the squad first, and so someone like Barada, and he's going to be in charge of that side, I guess. If we get another director of football, I don't know, but Wilcox and Barada and Ineos guys are going to put together the squad. It's Amarin's job to get a tune out of those players. If it doesn't work out, then they'll get another manager that wants to play a similar way to Amarin, or at least play a similar sort of formation or style, so that the change isn't as great. But I think for Manchester United fans, it feels like light years away at the moment because I'm just watching us struggle in the Europa League, thinking, well, we used to like send our backups in the Premier League to take care of these sort of teams, and they'd win like 3-0, and we'd moan and say, "Oh, that was too easy." Whereas now we're looking at each game being a struggle. So the City game on the weekend, I've absolutely no idea how it's going to go because I've been watching City this season and I don't recognize you guys. Like when you're losing to teams that you normally thrash, but they're not one-offs either. It's happening week in, week out, and I'm just like, what's going on? Like, is Pep like not getting the best out of the team anymore? Or is Pep? A lot of things have been said about Pep Guardiola over his career. Do you think he's finally kind of hitting the wall with like what he can get out of the team?
Like you said earlier, mate. Can I just say, lads, quickly? Like you said earlier, yeah, about you was talking about like it doesn't matter what manager you've got in because you've got crap in the team. I think at the moment it's the same for Pep. It doesn't matter what manager we've got in because even we've got Pep, who I still consider the best manager in the world, and it goes to show that we do have Pep, and they're still getting crap results because I think that's because of what we have on the pitch as well. So I think similar to United, although not as bad. I think because of what we have on the pitch is so bad. Not necessarily names because we've got great names still, but it's the age in a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys have hit the end of their time. You know, the end of their war. A lot of our players, you know, they've come to the end of their careers, and I think obviously that's not necessarily Pep's fault. That's what I think on Pep.
No, you're right because you look at it, and you know we've played 3 games this week. You know, in the space of a week, we've played Forest, we've played Crystal Palace, and we've played Juventus. And you know, you've got a 29, 30-year-old Bernardo Silva. You know, you've got a 33-year-old Kevin De Bruyne. You've got a 34-year-old Gundogan, who's playing. You know, pretty much 90 minutes for those 3 games.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem that you've got is when your midfield is a combined age of almost 100 years old and you're playing them 3 games a week, inevitably you're not going to get much success from it.
No.
And you know, it doesn't matter whether you've got the greatest manager of all time in Pep Guardiola managing or whether you've got Ten Hag managing. You're not gonna drain results out of a team where your sole, because I've always said the midfield dictates everything in a football game,
especially in Pep's team, Bevo.
Yeah,
especially in Pep's team.
Especially in Pep's team, yeah, where your midfield dictates what you do creatively moving forward. It also dictates you're also the barrier before it hits our last line of defense because of how high our defensive line is. So the problem is when you've got a midfield that's got a combined age of nearly 100 years old, and you are the 3 which dictates whether we score goals or concede goals, like, and you're playing 3 games a week, you're not going to get success from it. It's as simple as that.
That's it, mate. That's spot on. Absolutely.
What's your what's your guess for a scoreline, Rich, on Sunday?
I'm
going to say 1-1.
To be honest,
I'm going to say 1-1.
So let me just check. Is it Sunday kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, like, do you know, I think I was hoping we'd
looking like, mate?
With like how we used to play with Ollie and say, look, we've got some pacey players. I don't know. I think I'd be disappointed if we lost. I don't know. I think we should like set up to try and have a game plan to win. We got some pacey players. I'd probably want to use some like Rashford against you because he's usually quite effective in these sort of games and attack you with pace. But I'd be interested to see how we approach it because obviously Amram was manager of Sporting, so he has played against you guys. Although you completely monopolised possession in that game, but he did manage to get some joy with that team. I don't know. I think we've got to say I'd go for a draw. I think is a likely result. I don't see anyone winning. Like when someone in the comments said 4-1, I'd be really surprised. I don't think we'd be shipping that sort of scoreline.
But we're not.
I hope it doesn't come down to like something stupid like goalkeeping errors like on our side because that would just be disappointing. Do you know what
when you've got Onana in goal, mate, and I've seen it tonight, anything's possible.
I know. I was going to say, do you think City have done enough trying to replenish the squad over the last couple of seasons? Because if you look at Manchester United, when we had, say, won the Champions League in 2008, and I think that's our last really good team. I think we were trying to replace players like Giggs and Scholes with the main ones, And I think every time a player came in and thought, okay, he's going to be like the next player to replace Paul Scholes or replace Ryan Giggs, what happened was they just weren't good enough. And it ended up that a 38-year-old Paul Scholes and a 39-year-old Ryan Giggs were still better than players we were trying to bring in. And eventually those guys retired. And there's just an inevitable drop off. I think there's some players that are just they're so good. It doesn't really matter how old they are. Like a 39-year-old Ryan Giggs was in midfield, still running things, still like phenomenal, like still not dropping off the pace. He just decided to retire. And Scholes didn't lose any passing ability at all. I think it's just difficult. City have been like your treble winning season was you were head and shoulders above a lot of teams in Europe as well. I think to keep to that level is just hard. You probably need to try and find some of the next generation of talent now. I don't even know who you'd buy. Like if Haaland left, who would you buy as a striker? Like who's going to come in and do remotely close to what he's done? Because he's been ridiculous, hasn't he, for a few years?
I think the problem that you've got with Haaland is I don't know how much of the stream you've seen, but we're too heavily reliant on him being the person to get goals and assists, whereas pre-Haaland, it was spread across the team a little bit more, and we had players that, when Haaland, if we didn't have Haaland, but if we had Haaland at the time, if he didn't get goals, we had players in or around the team that could produce something, like a Riyad Mahrez. You could guarantee, 15 to 20 G&A a season from him. I think last season for me was the telling one, because I think the fact that Rodri didn't get injured last season, I think I started to see the decline from there, because I kind of feel like the board saw it as, if it's not broken, don't change it. But the problem is you can't guarantee that next season it's not going to be broken. All of the players are a year older. You've got Kyle Walker, who in the season of the treble, he had like Vinicius Junior on lock. He had the likes of Kingsley Coman on lock. And did it comfortably. But there's no guarantee that moving forward, the next season he's going to do the same, and the season after he's going to do the same, because age does play a part in it. And I feel, for me, that we're 2 years too late into this rebuild, because ultimately in the summer,
you need to be proactive, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's quite similar. I thought from a Man United point of view, I thought you were getting too reliant on Haaland. Like when he first came in, because you didn't really have someone that put those sort of numbers before. You had the goal scorers in the team. It's a bit like if you look at our treble winning season, nobody scored a crazy amount of goals, but everybody scored. So where it's like York, Cole, Sheringham, Solskjaer, Giggs, Beckham, everybody scored goals. And then when we had Van Nistelrooy, Van Nistelrooy put up crazy numbers, like really crazy numbers, but we weren't a better team. Like people love Van Nistelrooy because he was a phenomenal goal scorer, but we were a better team before and after Van Nistelrooy. When we had him in the team, we quite often won the league, and we very, very rarely had the top goal scorer in the Premier League, but we often won the league. But the top goal scorer might have been like a Liverpool player when they had, say, Torres, or they had, I'm trying to think who else they had. That's Sanchez. We often didn't know Suarez. Sorry, Suarez. But we often didn't have the top goal scorer. But we scored more goals as a team. And I think when you had a bit over reliance on Haaland, probably at the detriment to the rest of your squad. That if Haaland's not doing it, you're so reliant on one player, it makes it. Then people go, right, let's just target who's the source of Haaland's possession, or it gives it something for the opposition to focus on.
Yeah, just to jump in as well, like historically over in the past, what we've always done is we've always signed players to come in to be the replacements before the other players left. So by that, we brought in Rodri, whilst we still have Fernandinho. And there's other players that we've done with that. We brought in Phil Foden, who at the time was supposed to be the predecessor of David Silva. And we've kind of always done that. Like that, whenever we've gone through a rebuild, we've never actually gone through like a full rebuild before, because we've always done it gradual and we've brought in players at the right time. So then when players do age and ultimately leave, we've got a player who's been in and around the team for a season or 2 seasons, who's been learning from the likes of Pep and Fernandinho, etc. And they can come in and just slot into that role successfully. And I know that didn't really happen in Rodri's case, because the first year he was awful. But then the second year, third year, you know, he got better and made sort of his staple in the team. Whereas it kind of feels like now we're at a phase where we've not done that. So Kevin De Bruyne is going to be leaving at some point. John Stones is going to be leaving at some point. Gundogan's going to be leaving at some point. Kovacic is going to be leaving at some point. You know, you can almost look at people like even Grealish. You know, Grealish is coming into his 30s. You know, Ake's nearly into his 30s. You know, you've got Kyle Walker that's going to be leaving at some point. You know, all of these players that I've just mentioned, you've probably only got 2-3 years in them at best. You know, John Stones has made a biscuit, so he's probably going to retire before most players. You know, he can't be continuously playing year in year out. You know, Ake's going down the same route. Ake's always injured. You know, Walker, he's as great as he's been for us. You were always going to see a decline in him because, you know, the guy's 34. We've always said when Kyle Walker's pace has gone, that's it for him. And you know, as you get older, you do start to lose your pace. So I feel like we weren't quick enough in bringing in a right back to be a Kyle Walker replacement. We should have had someone sort of there or in and around the team. And I know you can probably say, oh yeah, but Rico Lewis has been there and done that. Rico Lewis has historically, even in the academy, never been a right back. He's always played centre mid or, you know, in a midfield position. So we don't have like for like players, or even, you know, players that naturally can play in that position who are in and around the team. So when Kevin De Bruyne goes, when John Stones goes, when Ake goes, when, you know, when Kyle Walker goes, Grealish goes, Bernardo Silva ends up leaving because he's coming into his 30s. You know, Gundogan, Kovacic, you know, that's 8 players. You know, in the next 2-3 seasons, those 8 players are going to go. And we're going to have to bring 8 players in to fill those spots. Now, this is a failing on the board, and the board should have started this process 2 years ago after the year we won the treble, because I think it was on LB stream. LB said it best. You know, you could be a 29, 30-year-old Bernardo Silva, but when you're getting spammed out the amount that he doesn't look 29 or 30. He looks 32, 33. You know, and this ultimately is going to be the same for Rodri. Rodri's playing 60, 70 games a season. The guy's 26, 27, 28, something like that. But ultimately, if Rodri's getting spammed out 60, 70 games a season, by the time he hits 30, 31, he's going to look 33, 34, 35. Because you're spamming out these players, you know, year in, year out, and the board are just seeing it as, oh, well, it's okay, you know, we don't need to fix it. You know, these players did it last year, they can go and do it next year. No, they can't. They're a year older. At some point, you have to accept and manage these players properly. You know, we saw roughly in the year, maybe the year before we won the treble, that's when you started to notice the injuries in Kev, and he started to pick up these knocks and was out for 2-3 months, 4 months at a time. You know, we should have seen that as an opportunity to then go into the market and bring in a young Musiala, you know, a young Wirtz, to be in and around the team, to learn off players like Kev. So ultimately, when Kev's in the position now where he's looking to, you know, part ways or to leave the club or whatever, because let's face it, Kev ain't got a contract at the end of this season. After this season, he's out of contract. He's done. So we
should already have the next guy now, mate. This is the issue. Like, it's the same as several guys. We should already have the next guy. Yeah. But like, this was the beauty of the Rodri signing, because when we got Rodri, we could have afforded for him to have that 1 season adjustment period because we had Fernandinho there. we already had the main guy there. Like these guys previously, before 2 years ago, they all had great understudies, and in this period now, they haven't got understudies, and if they did have understudies, they've not been to the standard. So the guys that have been in the starting 11 have had to be spammed out every 3 days, and now they're all half dead, mate. Listen, lads, I'm gonna have to go get some food in it, but it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I really enjoyed it, lads. Rich as well. I'm gonna have to check you out, mate, because you talk some good sense for a United fan. Fair play to you.
If you follow Luke or Bevo, then you find me on social media and just drop a follow, and I'll follow you back.
I'll look out for you, mate. But listen, it's been a pleasure, lads. I'm starving. I'm gonna have to go get a meal.
Yeah, well, I think we'll end it now anyway. But over 2 hours stream, so I think we're gonna end it there.
Don't get me wrong. I could have stayed. I could stay on and talk to you all night.
Yeah, we all could.
I love to talk football. But yeah, man, it's been a real pleasure, lads. Thank you.
No worries, man.
Cheers for coming on, mate. I'll speak to you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Right, Joe. Well, I think we ended there and ended there as well. I think it's been long enough. A lot about City the last about 2 hours or so, but before ending the stream,
sorry for cutting in. Sorry for cutting in. I think you wanted to say something before you went, didn't you? You put up a post about Pep giving a green light or something.
That was right, yeah. Joe, well, we'll mention that briefly before we end this stream anyway. So, yeah, Pat's been given the green light to spend heavily in the new year. And the priority is to sign a defensive midfielder, which I imagine is probably going to be either Zubimendi or Guimaraes. Although Bruno's not a CDM, but he can play that role. And also a forward player to help, obviously take strain of Haaland. So, obviously, Cole could also form, could see him right back. So, it's a right back, striker, and a midfielder. I mean, it's what we were saying for a while anyway. Now, but they're going to be, well, we've heard rumours of who it could be. I doubt it's Ricky or someone like that. It's going to be someone of a good quality. I think the fact that it's heavily spent, we aren't getting cheap players there. It's going to be a good quality.
150 million, I've heard. I heard we've been given 150 million for January. So let's spend the entire budget.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it should be. But yeah, what we'll do at some point, Bevo, we'll do a stream at some point discussing the actual players at some point. Well, we won't do it yet. We'll do it towards the end of the month, after the games come up. But big up, Rich. Obviously, I'll come on for a little bit. I'll be on with you Saturday, and I think that's what we're going to do, isn't it? Saturday preview, I think.
Yeah, if you're free Saturday, let me know what times. I was thinking like 7, 8-ish, but I'll try and get like a few fans representing both clubs and try and sort something out. But that sort of time, if you're free. And Bevo, if you fancy joining, you're welcome.
Yeah, I'll let you know, mate. Yeah, I should be about. I'll let you know.
Yeah, it should be all right.
Okay,
yeah, that'll
cool.
be good.
We'll be about 8 p.m. I think. We'll be. That's probably what time I'll go because that's enough time after the football matches.
Yeah, and that's fine. We'll sort it out.
8 p.m. is perfect.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
cheers,
good,
guys. Is the stream finished?
Well, no, I'm going to end it now. Then this one we'll end it now. Big up everyone. Obviously tuning in tonight. Over 2 hours. I mean, I don't know how you've done it, but fair play. 2 hours hearing us waffle about Man City, but it is what it is. 1 win in 10. It will end at some point. I hope one day it will end at one point, but just don't get to 18, please, because that was Kevin Keegan, 2003, 2004. If you get to that level, then we really are going into uncharted territory. But yeah, big up to everyone. Big up to Brawl. Got a lot of things first. Obviously, and comment as well. So big up to you, mate. Obviously for obviously joining the community as well. On the road to 1K, obviously it's a slowly but surely journey. We're getting there, but we'll get there soon enough. And all support is very appreciated on Twitter and YouTube. Massively appreciate it. All the love on the podcast on tonight's show as well. All the other shows that we do in the future. Big up to you all, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.